This is Reverend Ken Lukiri of True Light Christian Assembly, Kenya. I'm the founder of this ministry. This journey began way back in 2014 when I had a call from God to leave work. I was a manager in one of the big restaurants here in the city, and I was earning good money. I was comfortable. I didn't want to leave job, so I decided to help God, in quotes. I didn't want to leave everything just to go and serve God. So 2014 through to 2015, 2016, I began my own business of a restaurant in aid to my personal needs and my family needs so that I can be able to support ministry. But all through, I was making losses, and anytime I go back to my knees and pray, God was still speaking to me vividly to leave everything so that I can be able to serve Him. So I decided to seek God in prayer on what I should do, because I didn't want just to start ministry without the guidelines of the Holy Spirit. So together with my closest friends, we decided to have some time in prayer and seeking God. We went to Mercy Center, that is in Ngong. We used to go there every Friday for overnight. We were paying and staying there for the weekend. We did it a couple of weekends. I had heard a voice from God, but I didn't want just to take it alone. We started a fellowship in one of my friend's house in Kabiria, and because we were so cautious, we didn't want to start a church, and the only day that we could meet was a Sunday, so we didn't want to make it look like a church per se. So we used to meet in that house just for fellowship from noon, that's midday, up to 3. Little by little, the number started to increase. We were in that house for 2.5 months, and God wanted us to move out of that because it became a comfort zone. We were coming with food and eating and with our families and just chatting. It was not formal prayer, it was just fellowship. Then the landlord spoke to Mr. Yamu and told him, this is a residential place, we don't want a church. And if you have started a church in this place, you either leave that what you are doing or you move out of my property. So Mr. Yamu advised us that now it's a high time for us to move out of that place. And he took upon himself to give us some small money to go and look for a place to start a church. We got a friend, that is Pastor Joel Angatia, who we were praying with some time back. So he told us that he was running a small fellowship in a 2-roomed house, which was a school. And he told us he was about to close down that place because he had tried for some time and there was nothing that was happening. He was seeing a lot of resistance. So when I told him about my case, he told me he'll give me that place and he'll also work under me. So we moved out of Mr. Yamu's house. That was in 2016, in March. Then we started a fellowship as a church. So we used to meet there in the mornings and do a service. That's how True Light Christian Assembly Kenya was born. That is in March 2016. Then as we continued to fellowship together, the church started to increase. We went to the owner of that school to give us more space because the 2-roomed house now was full. He extended us, he gave us another 2 rooms, so we expanded the church and it was doing a bit well. We bought a few things, chairs, instruments, and the church was moving on by God's grace. Then come 2017, we had a big challenge, which I never expected. That was the first challenge I experienced in running the church. There was a breakup of the church. 3/4 of the members that we were fellowshipping, they moved out and they started a church just next door. So I was left stranded. I could not be able to afford to pay for that place. I could not be able to meet other things. They moved out. But when I was praying to God and I was telling God, I didn't want this thing in the first place. What is happening? The Spirit of God told me it's not about them, but it's about me. So I was encouraged, and we pushed on. God brought on board other people who came to help me continue. Then 2018, through my spiritual father, that is Reverend Lukiri David, he told me that it's a high time for you to be ordained in the office of Reverend, which I reluctantly accepted. We organized for a big function. Reverend Bishop Elijah Munyekenye was the one who presided over my ordination. I was ordained in the office of Reverend. That is 2018. And immediately after the ordination, I saw changes in the ministry. I saw people coming to partner with me. So the ministry started taking shape. We started running the church in a formal way. And from 2018, we have seen God lift us from that Mabati structure, which was now around the 6 rooms, which we had expanded. We moved to another place, which was a bit bigger. And just before we moved to that place, God also pushed us to move. I was amazed. The guy who split the church moved and went to a next door to open a church. So early 2019, there was a lot of rain in our area. So the place where we were praying was flooded. Then we didn't have a place to worship. And one of the members of the church called me. That was on a Thursday. He told me, Pastor, if you want us to have a service on Sunday, please carry gumboots and let everybody come with the gumboots, because we cannot access that place. So we were stranded. I didn't get a place to go. So in that form of confusion, I told some of the members who were staying closer, because I stayed far from the church, to try and look for a place where we can go. To my surprise, I was called. That was on Friday evening, that they have gotten a place. They were moving around and they saw just next a church to let. So they gave me the number. I called that guy who was the caretaker. I explained to him what was happening. And God just used that caretaker, Mr. Fred. He told me, out of what I've heard from you, I've not seen you, but I believe what you have said. I'll give these ladies the keys to open, to wash the place and prepare for a service on Sunday. Then on Tuesday, we can meet and talk about rent and the payment. That's how we moved to that place. The surprise is this. Do you know that the place we moved in was the exact place where this guy who broke the church went? He was unable to pay for that place, and he was moved out of that place. I thank God, because God prepared for me at that place. We have been in that place for quite a number of years. The church continued to grow up to 2022, when the lease was expiring. So in a matter of thinking and finding out, trying to collect funds to be able to move to another place and a bigger place. Now the church was growing. We're about 70 people, and taking 70 people to a place which is small, you cannot be able to manage. So I was trusting God and praying, God, where do I take these people? 2022, that was in August, while I was on vacation, I had gone home. One of the members of the church called me and told me that there is a pastor who is willing to give us a place. He's moving out of that place. I was not very sure. I called my church administrator, that is Mr. Peter, to go and find out. Long story short, where I am seated here is that same spot. God has provided for us this place where we are worshiping. And I am very much happy, because it has taken the hand of God. We are starting 2023 in a bigger place. And the catch is this one. When I started this ministry, God was speaking to me that I need to prepare servants. And that will take me 6 years. He gave me an example of the way a child grows until he attains the age of going to school. Formerly, leave alone what is happening today, but in our years, we used to go to class 1 when we attained 7 years. So the Spirit of God was speaking to me that for 6 years, I want you to prepare. The 7th year, you'll be able to start a church officially. For the 6 years, you'll have challenges, you'll have experience on how to run. So for the first 6 years, we have been in preparation to start True Light Christian Assembly Kenya. And for your amazement, when we have reached 7 years, which we are hitting it on March this year, that is 19th, God has prepared a bigger place where we are, and we are ready to launch the church. I want to advise my fellow servants of God that this thing is too big for one person. This thing is too big for an individual. The ministry is God's work. If we can be able to allow God to move, we'll see great things. I enjoy serving God. I enjoy listening to the voice of God. And I know True Light Christian Assembly, this is just but the beginning. There are greater things in the store. One thing I've come to learn in ministry, there are many challenges. And if you're not steady, it can push you down. One of the challenges I've experienced is human power. Personally, I'm not good in praise and worship and singing. So at any given time, I'll need somebody to help me. I'm not good in instrumentalist and even like cameras and what have you. So ministry needs people to partner, and that is human power. In ministry, the best thing I've seen for ministry to grow is to have people who are willing to work with you. But if you don't have people who are willing to work with you, who can be able to open the church, who can be able to clean the church, who can be able to do many things here and there, human resource is very important and very key. I've had a challenge getting people who are fit to serve. You may see people come to church, but we also need professionals to be able to run a ministry. You cannot just pick somebody because he has come to church and to take that person to Sunday school and take care of your children. So getting to know who is fit in doing what is the biggest challenge in the ministry. And it has been a thorn in my flesh, and I believe God that I will be able to overcome. I'm not saying that I've overcome, but one thing I've done, I try to grow people. And that's why it has taken me 6 years to be able to launch this church. For the 6 years, I've been able to grow my sons and daughters in this church, and also to get people who can be able to partner in prayer, partner in finances, partner in various areas to be able to see this ministry run. So I want to challenge you that if you are going through an experience like I've gone through, human power is important. God has given us gifts, and those gifts are embedded in the lives of people. For you to identify this gift, you need to have a close relationship, a close fellowship with the people to be able to know who can be able to do what and be able to push them to do that particular work. Secondly, the challenge I've seen is finances. Friends, you cannot run the church without money. And the church is all about volunteer. Church is all about donations. You must be able to come up with a way on how you can be able to tell people so that they can be able to believe what you're telling them, so that they can be able to partner in one way or another with their finances. Like right now, the economy has shrunk. People are having a hard time to meet their daily needs. So on their monthly budget, church comes the last. But one thing I've realized, friends, as much as there is this challenge of money, when God has called you, He will cause a provision. That is the backbone of this ministry. We don't have international donors. We don't have dollars that are flowing in. But the people have grown in this ministry for the 6 years, I've taught them on how they can be able to partner with this work, and by so doing, we are able to raise money to pay for the rent and any other bills that we are having. So the challenges of money, I've overcome that challenge by teaching people the truth. I've seen people coil around things and they sell things. We don't sell things in this church, but we have taught people on how they can be able to be blessed when they partner with the church. The last challenge that most of people go through, friends, church needs us to learn. I have overcome many things in terms of knowledge by going to school. Initially, I thought that ministry will just get it by the Holy Spirit and be able to run with it. Knowledge is very key. That has pushed me to go back to school. I'm doing my master's in biblical studies, and I will continue up to a doctorate so that I can be able to be a knowledgeable servant of God. And the people that you bring on board, kindly teach them so that they can be able to be a people who can be able to serve with knowledge and understanding. The Bible tells us about study so that you can be approved workman who need not to be ashamed. So I want to challenge my fellow servants. Let us go back to school. Church is a big institution. You cannot just run the church like you can run your house. There are many people that are coming who have different needs, who have different knowledge in terms of profession, who are doing very many other things. For you to be able to administer and run this institution, you need knowledge. And most of us, we fail to get church running because of administration. I challenge church leaders, let us go back to school and especially acquire knowledge in terms of administration. You'll be able to run the ministry quite well. Currently, we are located at the junction of Kinyanjui, Naivasha Road in Kawangware, just opposite Mid-Hill Hospital. Once you get there on your junction of Kinyanjui, you will be able to see our poster. We are also on all social media platforms. We are also launching on the 19th our website. On the 19th, we'll have a great function where we'll be launching the church. The function begins at 9 a.m. where all visitors will be seated. Then from 9, we'll be able to start. We'll have time to praise and worship, to pray. Then after that, we'll have time for speeches from various pastors, friends, and relatives. Will be able to tell a story of how we have been walked this journey. Then thereafter, we'll have a sermon from one Bishop Edward Ouma, who has been my spiritual father from back home in the village. He's coming together with the wife, and other pastors who are my friends will be here. He'll be able to give us a sermon with the other pastors to launch the church officially. We'll have time to cut the cake and eat together and celebrate. Lunch will be provided, and by 2 p.m., the function will come to a close. So I just want to invite all my friends, my pastors, and those who are listening to come and let us celebrate together. I've received so many confirmation from my friends who are coming just to celebrate together for this great day. I'm looking forward to see you. Come and God bless you. I challenge you to partner with us in terms of gifts, in terms of finances, in terms of resources, so that we can be able to push True Light Christian Assembly to the next level as we launch the church. Welcome and God bless you.